Right, so I want to welcome you all to our webinar, 6 Tips for Winning the Holiday Season. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know it's hard to believe, but it is that time of year again. The holidays are sneaking up on us. And with the holiday season accounting for such a large portion of your sales or donations, it's really important to be prepared this time of year to capture your customer or your donor's attention during this crucial time of year. Now let's go ahead and take a look at a few stats. We know that 40% of consumers will actually begin their holiday shopping this year before Halloween. And I know that I'm going to be doing that because there are a lot of delays in shipping and supplies at this point. So it's possible that even more people are going to be choosing to do their shopping early. So keep that in mind. We also know that 28% of US and UK consumers plan to do more holiday shopping online this year, a huge opportunity for you. And today we've got information to help businesses and organizations of all kinds. Now, for those of you who are nonprofits, this time of year, we know it's just as important for you. And we know that online donations last year actually increased by $29. So there's real opportunity for you there as well. That's why it's so important to spend a little time now to plan out your holiday marketing so that you can get a strategy in place and get in front of your holiday shoppers and even donors. Now, there are a lot of other holiday promotions that are going to be out there in the world as well. And that means that it can be difficult to get your consumers' attention wherever that may be. And that's why today we're going to be providing you with tips and actionable steps to help you to stand out from the crowd. We're going to help you to come up with a marketing plan that leverages important online marketing channels for your business. Now, with all of that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at our agenda for today's webinar. We're going to be talking about 6 tips that actually land in these 3 categories. Tips that help you to plan your holiday marketing, promoting your campaign in all the right channels, and using your stats so that you can identify who your hot leads are and how to follow up with them. Now, before we get into the details, allow me to introduce myself and my wonderful guest for today. My name is Stephanie French, and I'm the content manager for webinars here at Constant Contact. And I'm excited to be joined again by Bryan Caplan, the CEO of Bryan Caplan Marketing, and he's here to talk with me to you about your holiday marketing. You want to hop on the camera?
I should be on the camera. Are you seeing me?
I am, and you look great.
Oh, thank you so much. You're so kind.
Awesome. Well, before we dive in, I'd like to actually run a poll with our audience today. So I'm going to go ahead and get this set up. For all of you in the audience, we'd really love to know, what is your biggest challenge in preparing your holiday marketing? You'll see a couple of answers there on the screen. Is it figuring out what to focus on? Is it understanding your audience and making sure you can reach them effectively? Figuring out what to write in your emails and your social posts? Is it figuring out how to connect and get in front of people? Or is it just knowing what's working in your holiday marketing so that you can use the information to really improve your results? So Bryan, I don't know if you can see the results live there on the screen, but we've got currently the majority, although it's shrinking a little bit, 42% figuring out what to write in an email and social media post. Actually, it's climbing again. So we've got 16% of you saying figuring out what to focus on, 25% of you figuring out how to connect and get in front of people. We'll give everyone just another minute or so to go ahead and vote in the poll and tell us what your biggest challenge is in holiday marketing.
And by doing so, we can also focus on that a little bit more.
Yes. Brittany, I see your question. Is this marketing related only, or will you be taking us through Constant Contact creating campaigns? We will not be taking you specifically step by step through creating campaigns. We're sharing lots of ideas and strategies for you to keep in mind there. All right, so we've got 77% of you that have voted, so that is actually a really great number. I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'm going to share the results for you all. So we ended up with 39% of you saying figuring out what to write in an email or social media post. That's about right on track with what I usually see from people. 24% of you saying figuring out how to connect and get in front of people. And then 18% of you knowing what's working in your holiday marketing and using that to improve your results. So let me hide that. All right, so let's go ahead and start going through the tips for today. Tip 1 is to really get a lay of the land, and that means being prepared for big shopping and or giving days. So Bryan, do you want to tell us a little bit about this? What are some of the things that our audience should be paying attention to here and thinking about?
Definitely. So, as Stephanie had already alluded to, over 40%, the last stat that I saw was 42 point something percent of holiday shoppers have already started. So we're looking at the important shopping days because these are days where you can actually establish contact with these people, and they're very important. Of course, we know Thanksgiving right after is Black Friday. That's where people are in the zone. They start thinking, their paradigm has shifted to, I got to start buying holiday gifts. So that other 60% that haven't started yet, that's the oh no moment, let's get going. So we've got Black Friday, we have Small Business Saturday, where really we're putting out our pride. We're making sure that we're getting the local community to support us. Cyber Monday, despite the fact that it is cyber, it's still people buying. It's still deals that you can put even for your physical locations, your retail shops, massage, salon, any of that kind of stuff. We've got Giving Tuesday for all you nonprofits out there. Now, what we're doing is people are changing to, okay, from buying to how can I give back? How can I end the year on a good note, on a positive note, and actually put out some good karma in the world? We have Hanukkah, November 28th to December 6th. Obviously, that changes every year, but that's really important because some of your customer base is going to be celebrating Hanukkah. Christmas every year, December 25th. Kwanzaa starts on the 26th. And then we have New Year's Eve, which really kind of is the capstone for the holiday shopping season. All those kind of last minute, oh, they got me something, so I better get something for them kind of gifts.
Awesome. Really great tips there. And Zelina, yes, we've got some tips that we're specifically going to call out for B2B as well. So stick around. So for all of the tips that we have here today, we're actually going to be giving you an action item that you can complete that's going to help you with your marketing plan. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the action we can take here for our first tip?
Sure, if you want to show it on the screen just so they can see it. So big thing, here's my suggestion for all of you. You can just go on Google. As I always say in my Grow with Google classes, when in doubt, Google it out. Open up Google and search for blank calendar. That's it. And then what you want to do is actually start printing out a calendar for October, November, and December. You're going to be able to use these dates, mark them up. And then what you can do is it's not just about the date. So of course we know, Black Friday is the day after Thanksgiving, but you're going to be talking to them for a week or 2 weeks before then, kind of getting the buzz going, getting them ready, priming them to buy from you. So you have that big and bold, maybe highlighted, circled on the calendar, and then you start working backwards and figuring out what can I write to them, what can I send, what kind of video could I post, or what kind of article could I share to get them thinking about buying my products and services.
Definitely. And I just want to point out, great tips there for using any calendar. I just want to let you all know we do have the marketing calendar in Constant Contact if you go to your campaigns tab. An easy way to do this, connect everything within your Constant Contact account, and you can actually, if you go to the settings of it, you can actually turn on the holidays for your state and your country, and then you can start to plot your marketing campaigns all within that same calendar. A really cool thing that we've added probably in the past couple of months is that you can actually sync that calendar then with your Google or your Apple or your Outlook calendar, and that helps you to stay on track of your marketing or even share it with any of your employees or workers so that they can stay on top of it as well.
And what I would say, Stephanie, is even do both. So print it out, and that way you can, because a lot of us, it's easier to take notes and then use the tools that Constant Contact gives you so that you have it right there. It syncs with everything. But as long as you just do something, I'm a huge fan of the do something principle. So as long as you mark them down on whatever calendar you're using, that's going to help you.
Agreed. I'm a big fan of writing things down first, and then I can take that while I'm in my account and really take it and make sure I'm plotting things on the right days. So
I'm
that is
surrounded
awesome.
by Post-it notes all the time.
You and me both. All
Mhm.
right, let's go ahead and move on to tip 2, which is to set SMART goals for your marketing so that you can stay on track of how all of your marketing is affecting your sales and donations. So Bryan, I know you've got a really great formula here that you talk
Sure.
about all the time. You want to walk us through it?
Of course, definitely. So SMART goals, everyone, it's an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time sensitive. Now, at the end, we have a bonus for you and we have a holiday guide where we go through all of this, and I actually wrote out an article. We have videos so that you can really understand what SMART goals are. So I won't get into the nitty gritty that's on this slide, but I will tell you, in the 10 plus years that I've been doing marketing with the thousands of small businesses that I've coached, consulted, and trained, those that set goals are the ones that succeed. Now, for a lot of us, especially the holidays, think about New Year's resolutions. You might say, I want to lose weight, I want to get healthy. It's a very generic goal. By actually putting your goal into this framework where it has to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time sensitive, now you're kind of creating some accountability for yourself. And one of the things that I see, we've actually had a lot of clients reach out to us because now they're realizing, okay, we've got to get going with the holiday marketing. Well, the first thing we're saying is, what's the plan? What do you want to accomplish? Is there a certain product that you want to sell a certain number of? If you're a nonprofit, is there a certain donation mark you want to hit or a certain number of volunteer commitments you want to hit? So by writing that down, it's almost putting it out into the ether, but it also keeps you accountable so that you can measure along the way as the months progress, as we get closer to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and you can know, am I doing it right? Do I need to tweak something? Because marketing is as much of an art as it is a science.
I agree full-heartedly there. So let me advance the slide.
So here, I'll just go with it, Steph, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So things that you want to write down, and if you see any on this slide that really speak out to you, write them down, okay? So be writing notes as we're going. What are your goals? Do you want more of something? So goals can be more of something or they could be less of something. In this case, do we want more leads? Do we want to get more email subscribers? You guys are using Constant Contact. We definitely want to grow that list because that gives us more opportunity. Do you want more appointments if you're providing B2B services? Phone calls, I know that a lot of small group fitness trainers that I've worked with, they definitely want the phone calls because then they can get someone into the studio, give them a free session, form submissions. If you have a website, you should have a contact form. Are we getting people to enter in their information to learn more about our products and services? Videos, we'll be talking about more, the more views, the more people know about your brand. Of course, social media and social followers, that's a big deal. So we want to be able to grow our herd, our tribe, our community around our brand. Foot traffic if you have a physical location, and even downloads, again, B2B. If you have a PDF, a case study, an ebook, a guide, it might be a white paper, any of those things. If you set the goal that you want to get more downloads, then you can work towards that goal with the steps that we're about to show you. So I created a formula. I've been presenting on SMART goals for the better part of 4 years. And usually when I'm in a room, whether it's 50 people or 5,000, I see a whole bunch of deer in the headlights. They're like, "What's a SMART goal?" So I created this formula. So basically it's this: I want to increase or decrease. So do you want more leads or do you want less people doing no call, no shows for your appointments? A marketing metric, the ones that we just went over, leads, form submissions. And thing with SMART goals is you're adding either a number or a percentage. So now we're not just saying more, because more is qualitative. We're making it quantitative. How much more? If you sell jewelry, let's say you sell earrings, you want to sell more earrings, great. Well, do you want to sell 100 more earrings, 1,000 more earrings? And then we choose your marketing channel. It could be through your email, which is obviously probably one of the most powerful things you're going to have, a huge tool in your tool belt this year for the holidays. Is it your website? Is it your social media profiles? Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have a newsletter that you're sending out, an actual printed newsletter? Some of you do. And then we're putting a length of time. We're actually putting a time and date stamp on it so that we hold ourselves accountable. Most of you would set a SMART goal to be completed by the end of the holidays, or by, let's say, the end of this month, you're going to have all of your marketing completed. You're going to have your different campaigns that we're going to show you, some stories we show you how to do, different channels that you're going to be using. So by adding in all of these things, these little factors or variables, now we have a SMART goal. Let's show them an example, Stephanie. So for instance, I want to increase my new customer leads by 10% through my website in the next 3 months. You see, it's very simple. It doesn't have to be this big, convoluted, complex thing. Really, really simple and easy. And then once you create your SMART goal, print it out. put it above your desk, put it on your phone, send yourself a reminder, whatever it is, so that you can keep it on top of mind. You know that you're advancing toward it all the time. And another example I had mentioned, you can decrease. So I want to decrease my number of missed appointments by 50% by using a calendar scheduling app like Calendly or Acuity Scheduling in the next 1 month. So by doing so, now I'm going to send out a link. People can see my availability. Great. Now they can choose a day and time that works for them. I save myself on back and forth emails, and now they're committed. They're in the calendar. I have more people showing up because they're being reminded.
I really love your formula here, helping people to break it down, because one thing I see as I'm talking to people, they'll often just jump into like email marketing or holiday marketing or whatever without these specific goals. And when you have these goals, you can start to track it, and then you can start to see how you're doing, and you can make these tweaks along the way that help you to make improvements to all of this. So
Exactly.
what is your action item for tip 2 here for your SMART goals?
So what we want you to do is define your top 3 goals through the end of the year. It could be the amount of new customers. It could be the amount of return customers, the sale of a certain product or service, a download. Now, I know that we're advancing pretty quickly because we only have an hour, but again, at the end, we do have a holiday guide that we created. It will have all of that in there, and you're welcome to download it so that you can sit there, open it up, and then start writing out your SMART goals on your own time. But give yourself a good 15 to 20 minutes so that you can really think through your goals. Don't just write them down sloppy. We want to make sure we've thought through it really, coherently so that we know what we're trying to accomplish.
I love it. Awesome. Let's go ahead and move on to tip 3, which is to spend some time defining your audience. And I think this is important because really understanding who your buyer or your potential client is going to help you to better appeal to your audience so that you can create messaging that engages them and then encourages them to take action, no matter what your business is. So you're going to talk about a buyer persona. Let's first talk about what a buyer persona is and why we should have one for our business.
So instead of reading this, you can read it. I won't read to you, but I'll give you a quick story. One of my family members just joined online dating apps. So I want you to think about a buyer persona just like creating an online dater app for your customer. And this is your perfect customer. This is the person that's going to walk in your store. They're going to call you. They're going to jump on your website. They're going to go to your nonprofit event. And that's it. They're in. They've bought in. They really want to see you succeed. So I want you to think about this dating profile. If you've ever known someone that's done dating, and especially online dating, I know I did it before I met my wife, and it wasn't for me, but the more kind of built out and comprehensive your profile is, the more people can get to know you and they can figure out if you're going to gel. Well, the same thing, the more that you can build your buyer persona, and I noticed in the poll, a lot of you said, I'm not too worried about, knowing my audience. Well, if you know your audience and you know who you're talking to or who you're dating, then you can create the right messaging for them. You can write the right blog post or the right social post, make the right video, because now you're in their head. You're thinking like them. And especially in this time where we've said 4 out of 10 people already started shopping, that's where we want to get we want to break into like inside the head of John Malkovich, that movie, the same kind of thing. We want to know what's going on, what's making their cogs turn, so that we can influence them and hopefully get them to consider our products and services as they're buying for friends and family.
Awesome. I would full-heartedly agree. Probably not enough people are actually thinking about their audience enough to make sure they're creating that right kind of messaging that's going to come a little bit later. Now, before we move on to this, Bryan, I just want to address and remind people that we are recording the webinar today, and it's going to include the visuals and everything like that. So no worries, this session is being recorded. So
Definitely.
Back to the slides here. Walk us through it. How do we actually create a buyer persona for our business?
Sure. So there are plenty of resources out there. Again, when in doubt, Google it out. For us, the holiday guide that we offer you at the end does have a whole kind of recipe, and it has questions, and there's even a tool we've created, a quiz where you can build out your buyer persona. Now, this is an example of actually a buyer persona that one of our clients built way back when. It's not the same one, but it gives you an idea, and it starts really chipping away. So I want you to think about the tip of the iceberg, right? We all know the tip of the iceberg, it's like the top 10% and then 90% is underneath the water. Well, the same kind of thing. You might have a customer come in or a donor or volunteer that comes in and works with your business, and you know just enough. You did the stop and chat, you know them a little bit, you know what they look at and things, but this is where you start really digging in. Think about if you're like sculpting something beautiful, right? This perfect customer, this dream customer, if you will. So for instance, Mary, 72 years old, female, lives in South Boston, retired secretary, has 5 grandchildren. She enjoys knitting, arts and crafts, visiting local museums. She buys online and also buys via catalog, and she loves music and rom-coms. How does that help us? Because Mary, we're not just going to be sending her a bunch of messages, buy my product, buy my product. We're not Billy Mays, may he rest in peace, or the ShamWow guy. What we are is we're trying to be an actual person, a human that's connecting with another human and saying we can increase the quality of your life, personally or professionally, with our products or services, or we can increase the quality of life for those our benefactors that are beneficiaries that are actually that we're working for with a nonprofit. So why would we do this? Well, okay, if she has 5 grandchildren, then maybe we could post up something about an article or a video about, hey, 5 fun things you can do with your grandkids. And maybe one of those 5 things uses our product or comes to our venue. If she enjoys knitting and arts and crafts, maybe we show something like a video that we learned or something on a master class or something where we're saying, hey, this is a response to it. We saw this. This is a really good idea for a project. Here's something you could do. Local museums. Hey, just simple and easy. If you're a realtor, hey, there are free passes to local museums that, banks are giving out or whatever. You can go to your local library. Here are some so that you can take the family and go enjoy yourself. So now we're not just helping them to live a better life through our product and service. Holistically, we're giving them more information so that when they think about, wow, I had a really good time at the museum. Oh, it was Acme Company that did that, or it was June or Jill or James or John that sent that email to me through Constant Contact that helped me so that I could have a better time with my family.
All great examples there, and it's really just tying it back to your marketing things that you can do to catch their attention, and really specific about the messaging, what's going to catch their attention in the inbox or a social media post, depending on who your customer is. So let's talk about the action item here. What is the action we should take here to define our audience better?
Sure. So here's where you can start. Listen, we're trying to give you very easy to digest things. So this action item, just take a piece of paper and start writing down bullet points, or open up a Google Doc or a Word doc and start writing down bullet points. I want you to think about your perfect customer. This is the person that not only has come once to your store or has frequented your business, they come again or they refer people. So the more that we can define that person and we can start just listing out, okay, I know that I talked to them, they love the Red Sox or they love the Celtics if you're in Boston, or they love symphony or this. Just think about things, conversations you've had, or write down products and services they've used with you. Or if you're a nonprofit, what different events have they attended or where have they donated the most money? And then let's start thinking about, okay, what was that event? What was the cause? How can we start sending them more information right now to stay in front of them and really offer them content that matters to them?
Awesome. Really just making sure you're thinking about your audience. I love that. All right. So tip 4 is to really tell your story.
Yeah. This is my favorite one.
I think this one might be my favorite too, but can you tell us why storytelling is so important, especially when it comes to marketing our business for the holidays?
Well, right there, the holidays, right? So let's think about it. Any type of organized religion or even spirituality is the idea of storytelling passed down from generation to generation. I was telling Stephanie that I just got back last night at midnight from the Cape Verde Islands. If any of you know where the Cape Verde Islands are, they're off the west coast of Africa. Now, this is a very poor developing country. It's an archipelago of 10 islands, 9 of them habitable. And the thing that I noticed in the time that I was there is how many stories are told. It's how people are connecting. These are perfect strangers. Some of them know each other, but they don't even use their last name. They say, my father-in-law would say, my name is Manuel de Maria or Manuel de Linda. And they're like, oh, Manuel de Linda, I know a story about Linda. And then they just start talking. So I just sat there, I'm getting goosebumps. I just sat there listening to these perfect strangers tell stories about You know what? We used to go to church together, or you were in my school. Remember this? And they tell a story. It's how we connect. Think about songs you love, right? Some of the greatest songs, some of the, like Stairway to Heaven, great song. Bohemian Rhapsody, great song. There's stories. It's someone telling a story. So we listen to music because we love the story. Holidays are based around stories, right? Hanukkah, where the Maccabees survived, the birth of Jesus with Kwanzaa, all of these different things, we're telling stories. So if those stories are so pervasive that everything can stop, time can stop on a day like Christmas, right? Or that perfect strangers can connect. Or actually, Stephanie, we did something where we talked about how I sold an ugly brown couch through the
We
power of
did.
story on Facebook Marketplace. If that can happen, then if you can start telling stories, you can connect with your customers, your donors, your clients, even friends and family of them, so that they can get to know you better and ultimately feel comfortable enough that they want to buy from you.
Such an important way to connect with your audience and get them to pay attention to you. So we've got some really great prompts on the screen, and I know you've got tons of others in the guide that you mentioned that you created. What kind
Yes.
of stories, though, should our audience be telling, and how do they actually tell a story that's going to help them sell more this season?
So I think one of the, if you're all writing down notes, and I hope you are, one of the stories that you can start with is your origin story, your hero story, how you came to be, right? So you didn't just start a business out of nowhere. Did you start a business out of necessity? Did you inherit the business? Is this a legacy that you've had for generations and it's your responsibility to keep that legacy going? You know, did you have a pain point or a need? A great example, I'll tell you a very quick story. So one thing that we do is I kind of, to give back, I offer these blueprint sessions where we do a Zoom call and I record it. And one thing that I always ask is, what's your story? How'd you get started? I met someone named Donna who created a yoga mat. Now, Donna had started yoga about 5 years ago. She was in a terrible accident where she almost died. The only saving grace for her, the only reason why she survived that accident was because of what she learned in yoga, the breathing, kind of channeling your energy. So Donna realized, this is something that I want other people to know. I want them to love yoga. I want them to know how it saved my life. When Donna started, when we were first talking, she just created a mat. She created a yoga mat, but it was different. It's not those rubber yoga mats that you have at the gym when you go to the Y or whatever. It was made of Turkish cotton. It absorbed the sweat so that you weren't slipping and sliding around as you're trying to do downward dog, right? Well, after we talked, I said, Donna, you have to really infuse that whole part about your story, your origin, how you almost died, but because of yoga, because of something that you love so much, you have passion for, you survived. And now you want to share it with the world. And one way you want to share it is by making a yoga experience even better. Seems really simple. And a lot of us kind of glance over our history, but even, I had to travel, I had to fly to from Boston to the Azores Islands in Portugal to Cape Verde. I had a lot of time with my father-in-law. He got to know a lot about me and bond with me. And I was telling him stories of my past. And I realized, wow, these are things that I've kind of just like swept under the rug, but they're really good stories. And I'm going to be sharing them a lot more on my YouTube channel. People want to know what your story is, what your origin story is, how you came to be. And if they can understand that, number one, then they can relate to you. They can start to establish a rapport. The next time they see you, they're like, I read your story. It really stood out to me. I have a friend that happened to, or that happened to me. Now you've created an instant connection. And now they're much more willing to buy from you when they need your products or services.
On the consumer side, I love those origin stories because those very much draw me in. So I love that example. Now, another thing that I think really pulls together the story is with your imagery. So what advice do you have for using the right imagery over the holidays?
So again, it goes to your customer, right? A lot of it has to do with the idea of what's going to perk them up, what's going to pique their interest, what's going to engage them. Now on social media, there's so much noise. You're going through the news feed, you see stuff from all over. But let's say that you are sending an email in this case. And especially, I love using animated GIFs or GIFs, whatever you want to call them. So in this, the steaming cup of coffee, right? That's something where, I can picture myself waking up in the morning and actually having that steaming cup of coffee when it's freezing out. Right now, the leaves are changing in New England. I'm looking out over the water. I see beautiful leaves, Pretty soon it's going to be ice like Game of Thrones at the wall, and I'm going to be staring at ice and dead trees, but I can still picture myself holding that cup of coffee. Because imagery, the thing is, we process images a lot faster than the written word. There was an MIT study, and there's something called rapid fire processing. So here's what I want all of you to do. I want you all to blink your eyes and blink again. The average blink takes 300 to 400 milliseconds. Yet to process one image on average, it takes 13 milliseconds. So simple, stupid math. If you blink your eyes, you could process about 30 images in the same amount of time. Pretty crazy, right? So images they're so popular. And the other thing is, think about consumerism and how they're trained, right? So we're all trained. If you're using social media or if you're sending out emails, most likely if you click on that image, it brings you somewhere. It's a call to action. So we want to use imagery to, again, pique interest and get our people to click, because email clicks are very important. We'll be talking about that. But even on social, I know that if I see an image, I click on it, it brings me to wherever I'm supposed to go. So we want to be using images because it drives action from consumers, from donors, from volunteers.
And there's so many fun things you can do. We've got, the cute picture of the cat that they've just edited. And by the way, I want to mention we do have an integration with Canva that makes all of this really fun, and you can do really unique things. So if for some reason you needed to use an imagery but make it stand out, add some text or layers and colors or something to draw people in, you can do that and customize the image. And Bryan, I think your team is going to be creating some Canva templates for anyone who signs up to your mailing list after this. Is that correct?
Correct. Anyone that wants to download the holiday guide, we're going to have a special bonus, and we'll be sending you some different Canva templates that you can use on your own.
Awesome. And another thing I want to point out too is, behind the scenes imagery, you don't really necessarily have to go to stock images, but like this picture in the bottom middle, that's a picture of one of our customers during his cheese parade at the cheese shop in Concord, Massachusetts. So really just showing all of the fun things you're doing to prepare for the holidays behind the scenes, and those kind of things, draw in and, continue to tell your story.
And Steph, before you go on, the one thing I'll tell you is I'm actually working with one of my best friend's little brothers. I'm helping him out. He's like a little brother to me, and he's starting a chocolate shop. Well,
Nice.
all of us are fascinated. If you ever saw the original Willy Wonka, the one with Gene Wilder, the good one, right? Or if you saw the new one, that's fine. But when you watch the beginning where they're making the chocolate, you're fascinated. You're like, wow, this is crazy, right? And a lot of us love chocolate. It's like this kind of thing that you can sit and savor and really enjoy. It's an experience. So I've had him creating photos, having his wife take photos of him melting the chocolate, pouring it in, doing all those things. And I got to tell you, my mouth watered, but more so, people are learning how it's made. We're all curious. We want to know, how did it get from A to B? Well, show us, and then that gets us even more intimate with the product or service.
I totally agree. Love seeing how things are made, especially chocolates and anything food related. So
Mm-hmm.
tell us about how we can take action. How can we get started with this tip in telling our stories?
Sure. So we had just shown you some different prompts, and again, you'll have the recording so you can go back and pause that and write down, but start with one prompt. The one that I obviously recommend is your origin story, how you got started. But if not your origin story, if you've already covered that, great. Hey, is there a time when a customer used your product or service and had amazing success? This goes beyond just a customer testimonial that you would collect on, Google or Facebook or whatever. It's more so, how can you tell the story where they had a pain point, they started working with you, and now their life is better as a result? Is there an employee that joined your company or your organization because they love the cause? Is there something that people can get around that way? Is there inspiration for a certain product or service? So did you go travel like I did across the water and go to some country, or were you in Europe, or were you in another part of the US? And you were like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't know they do that here. And you wanted to bring it back home with you. So just think about, there are prompts that, how did the product or service come to be? How did the business come to be? If people can understand that, you can tell that story. Now they're going to relate to you better.
Awesome. Great reminder, just tell your story. And That leads us into this next tip, which is to really share your story. And today we're going to be focusing on 5 areas. And the one thing that's important to know here, I talk to people all the time, in the webinars we do, and often people have a misconception that it's one tool over the other. And it's about using these tools together. That's what's really going to help you to maximize your success. And I can't stress that enough. So first up is our website, and this is going to be the home base for a lot of your marketing activities and where you should be driving people back to make those purchases, book a meeting with you, or to donate to your cause. So tell us about the website. What are the things that we should be changing this time of year or adding to our website?
So many, if not all of you, should have an About Us page. Or if you have a single page website right now, at least an About Us paragraph. And the thing is, again, this is going to be your origin story. Why did we start? Are we a husband and wife team? Are we a family business? Am I a one-person show that just started out of necessity? So again, tell me a little bit more. It could be a few sentences. It could be a couple paragraphs. Use imagery as well, right? So we want to put in an image, a picture, something like that, so that people can kind of put a face to the story. With the website too, the things that we want to really make sure of are that it's mobile responsive. Google just came out with the Core Web Vitals update, and they're still rolling it out, but that's a fancy term. Basically, it's about user experience. Over 54% of all internet traffic is on these bad boys right here. So if someone's on their phone, we've got to make sure that our website looks good on the phone. Now, if any of you have ever gone on a site and you had to flick left and right on your phone, if you had to pinch and zoom, that's taboo. That's a faux pas. So we want to make sure it's mobile responsive. So that's number one. Number two is your site's load speed. How quickly does it load? Again, let's put ourselves in the shoes of consumers nowadays. We expect instant gratification, right? So think about if you have Hulu or Netflix and you see that little circle that keeps spinning and you're like, come on, start the show already. Well, a lot of us forget that we used to have to go to a tape store. And some of you on here probably don't even know what a tape store is. There's only one Blockbuster left. Well, we expect instant gratification. The same thing with a consumer. When they need a product or service, when they're in that kind of shopping spirit and they just want to get their stuff done, whether they look at it like this is a blessing, I get to do this for my family, or this is an obligation, either way, they want it to happen fast. So we've got to make sure your website loads fast. Have a sign-up form. And with a sign-up form, a really big tip here, write this down. If you have a sign-up form, you can actually, with most website builders, and especially if you build your website on Constant Contact, it feeds right into your email list. So if people sign up, you can have a box. Do you want to hear specials, offers, all that kind of stuff from us? Now they can go right to your list. You don't have to download something and re-upload it. It takes a step out, make it easy. Writing a blog post. So not only the About Us, if you're sharing your story, write the blog post. And again, could be a photo, video, whatever. And we'll talk a little bit more about video, but I will tell you from experience in running a YouTube channel and growing it for the better part of 3 years, video is very impactful, very powerful, and a great way to establish connection with your consumers, donors, and volunteers.
All great tips there. So let's move on to the second channel, which is Google My Business. And I think this one is so important for so many businesses.
Definitely.
So for those of you who don't know what a Google My Business profile is or don't know if they have one, can you tell us a little bit about what it is and why it's so important?
Sure. So it's a business profile on Google is a free profile that you can create. So again, let's think about the dating profile, but now it lives directly on Google. Now, a lot of you probably get a phone call saying, hey, we can get you to the top of Google. If you ever get those calls, hang up the phone right away. If you ever get the email, click spam right away. They do not have your best interest in mind. This, though, is where Google is enabling you as a business owner, if you have a physical location or a service-based business and you provide services in your local community, you can create a profile so that people can find you. Many of you use this, right? So we'll look for, if I'm hungry, I'm going to look for a restaurant near me. Well, right now, where we're talking about the holidays, maybe there's a certain kind of thing like gourmet coffee, or maybe it's gourmet jams, or maybe it's something vegan that a certain shop has, right? In this case, cheese. Listen, my son has dairy allergies. I miss cheese like none other. So maybe I would go to Concord Cheese Shop if I wanted to give all my cheesehead friends something. But that's where the owner of Concord Cheese Shop has it really going on here because he has the reviews. You can see the stars and the number of reviews. You can see his address. You can click to get directions right there to go shopping. And now Google actually gives you the ability to add your products and or services to your profile so that if someone's looking for specifically fresh mozzarella near me, they could click into Google, type in fresh mozzarella near me. Because the Concord Cheese Shop added that product, they have a chance of showing up. So a very powerful tool.
Yes, I agree. What are some of the things that we can do, especially this time of year, to make sure we're optimizing this profile?
Sure. I think one of the biggest ones is to go through, with your business profile on Google, it's expected that you're going to fill out everything. Again, dating profile. We want it to be comprehensive. Give them as much information as possible. So there's a reason, a method to the madness why you're asked, hey, when did you open? Give us your description, add your products and services. This is allowing you to be shown and found in search when a customer needs it. So we want to make sure that you have all your accurate business information. On top of that, hours. According to a study by Google back in 2017, 40% of shoppers were looking for hours. With the holidays coming up and after the past 18 plus months of what we've had, people are definitely looking at your hours to make sure you're open. The easiest way to lose a customer and or have that lost customer tell others not to shop with you is by having the wrong hours, making them get in their car and drive over to you, and then you're not open. And this just happened to us 2 weeks ago. And I was, I looked at my wife, I was like, okay, we won't come here again. So you can't lose customers. Every sale matters. Make sure your hours are up to date. Photos. People are looking at photos. And again, we saw how I told you how quickly that we processed the photo, quicker than the blink of an eye. A great example of this, my brother-in-law owns a barber shop in the Mall of New Hampshire in Manchester. And one thing, he didn't even realize he had a business profile. I had built it for him. I didn't tell him. And then we started talking. He was over one day and our kids were playing. And I said, come here, let's look. We started looking at the photos. Now he's getting the emails and he saw that he had 65,000 views of his photos because a lot of people need haircuts. And not only that, by posting photos, we can actually see what are people interested in. So we could see that a lot of people were looking at hair color, right? So the hair color services, we want to be promoting that. We could see that other people were looking at braids, other people looking at fades, balayage, all these different things. Now he knew what to send out in his emails to get more customers in. Asking your customers for reviews. I'll never forget when I lived in Massachusetts, South Shore of Massachusetts, and we brought my puppy to doggy daycare. And I said to the owner of doggy daycare, you're basically taking care of a family member of ours, but you don't have any reviews online. And her response, I don't want to impose. Get that out of your head. It's not imposing. If you provide a good product or service, or even nonprofits can collect reviews, if you follow through and actually do what you say and have that integrity, collect reviews, ask people when they're delighted by the product or service you provide to leave you a review, because the law of social proof says, hey, I might not know those people, but there are enough people that worked with that business, they trust that business, they had a good experience, I can trust them too. I'll put my money into their hands. And then use posts. There's something called posts on Google My Business where you can, it's very similar to a social post. You can't create it at the same time through Hootsuite or using Constant Contacts tools, but you're putting up a post at least once a week. You can be talking about a sale you have coming up. You can share the story. Maybe you upload a video. Maybe you have a new product that came in. Posts help you not only to tell customers what's going on, it also signals to Google that you're active, you're alive, you're dynamic, and you're constantly adding new content to Google, which makes it a better chance of you showing up.
All great tips. So in the instance of time, let's go ahead and move on to the third channel, which is YouTube and using video, which you've already talked just a little bit about.
Of course.
So what kind of videos are going to be helpful to share over the holiday season?
Your stories, right? So any kind of story you have, you want to tell it. And I'll tell you what, some of you may be really reticent to get in front of the camera, but that's how you're going to establish a real true connection. I'm looking right into the pinhole. This has been years in the making. This isn't something I used to look around like this because you feel so uncomfortable. And you feel uncomfortable because that video is in perpetuity. Get in front of the camera if you can. If you don't want to get in front of the camera, Take it like this and shoot a video with your outer camera and show your products and narrate. Just talk about what you're doing, or show a service being done, or show before and afters. Walk people through what's happening. By you adding a voiceover, they're going to understand. And when you make videos, I'm going to tell you, videos are some of the most important content you can create for your marketing. There are 2 billion active users on YouTube watching 1 billion hours of video per day. And for anyone with any kind of, any kind of predisposition or disposition to anything, if they enjoy watching people eat, there's mukbang. If they enjoy learning about business and marketing, there's Bigger Better Biz. There's a channel for everything. You can create a channel too that incorporates your products and services in, so that you can get more people looking at your brand.
Awesome. So obviously email is a big one, and that's going to be the next one we talk about. So tell us a little bit about email and how our audience can create or design some really effective looking emails over the holiday season.
Number one, use the templates, right? So Constant Contact has amazing designers that are creating templates for you. Use those if you really aren't very graphically designed, or graphic design kind of, I don't know, you have that capacity, if you will. One thing to do to really try to evoke more action is including a coupon or a discount if you offer a product or service. Of course, make it festive. You can go and you can celebrate any holiday you want. You could say happy holidays, you can say Merry Christmas, you can say happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, whatever it is. If you make it festive, that's going to be great. And don't just sell, add value. We talked about Mary and how you could send her, ideas about tickets or activities to do. Have your product in there. That's going to be your big thing, but then have some supporting content so that people feel like they get value from your email campaigns.
And that value is so important to make sure they're not feeling sold to every single time that you send an email, and it builds those long-term relationships. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about frequency and timing, because this is a question we get with email all the time. Now, Bryan, when we talk about this, especially for anything that's time sensitive for your promotions, we really do suggest sending a series of 3 emails or posts if you're using social media at the time. And this is a great way to really promote and remind people about your offer. The holidays are an especially busy time of year, and people often get distracted. I know I get distracted all the time because I have a small child. So it is definitely okay to send them multiple emails to remind them. Announce your offer, remind them later, and then a day or 2 before the offer expires, provide that last chance reminder. Do you have any other advice or suggestions when it comes to the timing or even the frequency of emails, or anything you're using with your clients?
Right now during holiday season, you're going to see that you're going to see an increased volume of emails coming in your inbox. That's because whether it's a small business or one of the big players, they know that they're really vying for your attention. So it's a competitive arms race, unfortunately. This is the time where a lot of people think, I just spoke to someone that said, I only send 1 email a quarter. You can't do that. You can't afford to do that. You need to be sending right now, you need to be sending multiple emails every 2 weeks. So maybe it's 2 or 3 emails every 2 weeks right now, and kind of ramp it up. And then in November, we actually, in the holiday guide, I give you what you should be doing, kind of a prescription, if you will. But here, work backwards. Figure out when you want that sale to be, or that kind of event, and then work backwards. And like Stephanie said, the rule of 3 is great, easy to do. If you can add more, wonderful. If not, 3 is a good number.
Awesome. So let's move on to the last one, which is actually social media. And this one's actually a big one. Now, the big thing to note with social media is sometimes people think it should be used over email or versus email or something like that. It's great to use in conjunction with email and all these other tools we've talked about today. It should just be another layer. So what should our audience do or be posting on social media?
The same thing. If you have your story, you can take a little bit of your story and say, hey, here's a snippet. To read more, check out my blog post, send them back to your website. Or, with social media, you want to make sure that basically it used to be, and when we would present all the time for Constant Contact, we had the 50-30-20 rule. So 50% of the time, you're kind of educating, you're informing, engaging. 30% of the time, it's talking about the industry and kind of thought leadership. And then 20% of the time, you're selling. So 1 out of every 5 posts should be selling. Well, one of those posts could be join our mailing list because we have exclusive email only offers, or we're going to have an exclusive event just for the people that join our community, our email list. So think about that. And think about how you can incorporate imagery. Now, again, we're going to create some Canva templates for you to make it easy. And when you download the holiday guide, we'll be sure to send you that follow-up email so you have all the templates. But try to use festive imagery, use stock photos, take your own photos. If you have a dog, Steph and I were talking about our dogs, put on a Santa hat or put a menorah in the background, or use something so that you're actually showing the festiveness of the holiday. Put a pine tree, make some fake snow with ice, whatever it is. Do something so that you're getting into the season, you're getting people excited about it. But as Stephanie said, the one thing that I'm going to give you a caveat emptor here, remember when Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp went out? You can't just depend on social media. There are people that lost a lot of money that day. There are big brands that lost a lot of money. So just putting all your eggs in the social media basket, I would never, ever suggest that to any one of my clients.
Great, great point. So important. Now, I know Dennis was asking before the webinar today, he wants to know if you could explain, is it better to use a Facebook ad or a Facebook post or boost to market books for the holiday?
So Dennis, know your bandwidth, know your capacity. If you have, if you already know how to use Facebook Ads Manager, then by all means create a Facebook ad. But if you're just dipping your toes into the ad water and you don't really know what you're doing, you have a post where you're promoting a product or service or getting people to join your email list, sure, put $5 or $10 in for a boosted post and see what comes of it. If you're using boosted posts, which most small business owners would do because it's the easy button, what you want to do is make sure that that post is either something that's going to get a lot of engagement, a lot of likes, comments, shares, so that your brand is getting seen, or it's something that you're driving them to a page on your site, a product on your shopping cart, a fundraiser, or like we said, your email list, so that you're growing your marketing program as a whole. Don't just boost every post just to do so.
Great point. Now let's move on to the action item. What action item do you have for tip 5 here?
Share your story, put it everywhere. You know, start long form with a blog post, cut it up so that you can put it into social media posts, tweets, you know, Facebook posts. Make a video if you can, telling your story. I'm working with a realtor right now trying to get her to tell her story because she has such an impactful story. In fact, I built a whole webinar around her story because it's so impactful for me. And
Nice.
of course, share your story in email. One thing is called the soap opera sequence. So you kind of tell a story, and if you've ever watched a soap opera or like Cartel or any of those shows, the cliffhangers, to be continued. Send one email, tell a bit of your story, and the next email I'll tell you this, and the next email I'll tell you this. Keep them wanting more, keep them in suspense.
I love that idea of keeping them in suspense. So let's move on to the 6th tip for today, which is to measure success and do some follow-up work with your leads. So what are the most important metrics that we should pay attention to this time of year, and why are they so important for us?
Go back to the SMART goals, right? So we're saying we want to accomplish a certain thing. If we're not measuring, we're not marketing. I can put out emails, I could send social posts, I could spend a lot of time building out those Canva templates or those designs and putting it out. But if I'm not seeing the return that I'm getting, whether it's a new email subscriber or a new sale or a new donor, what's the point? It's really insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, except we're not even looking at the results. So website traffic, is it picking up? From where? If you're using a tool like Google Analytics, you can see where that traffic comes from. A lot of your traffic will come from emails because your list is very warm. They already have a rapport with you. Are you getting new email signups? That's a big one. Social media engagement, not just a like, because a like is a pat on the shoulder. Who cares about a pat on the shoulder? That doesn't put money in the till. Instead, comments, engagement, sharing, those are the things. If we have conversions, doesn't have to be a purchase on our website, could be someone filling out a contact form or joining our email list. A conversion from email, we send out promoting a certain product or a bundle or an event. Did we get people to sign up? Email clicks, especially with the updates in Apple and with their articles on Constant Contact that are very helpful on the blog to explain more. We really need to be focusing on email clicks, the activity, the action that we drive from our email recipient. not just opens. They were always a vanity metric. Opens are opens. If they're really interested, they click, they want to actually learn more. And then website bounce rate, just think about this. If you ever open up a website and you close the tab really quick or you press back, that's a bounce. You didn't take an action. We want to make sure our bounce rate is down. The lower the bounce rate, the better. That means people are engaged. So if you share your story on your homepage or you have a video, people might watch that and then they're going to be more engaged. They're ultimately going to want to learn more about your products and services.
Great points there, especially about the email opens and the clicks. So we really want to suggest that you follow up with your hot leads. What suggestions do you have there?
So segmentation is huge, making sure that you know which leads are coming from where, what products they bought or services, what events they attended or fundraisers they donated to. Again, instant gratification, timely. If someone joins your mailing list, you should have a welcome email set up. You should have email automation. Constant Contact has that for every client we set up with Constant Contact. They definitely have a welcome email, if not a welcome series of emails, so you can learn more. Make it personal. You can use personalization, custom greetings, so that it says, "Hi, Stephanie," instead of "Hey there," or "Hello, friend." Who wants to be called "Hello, friend"? Nurture them with useful content. Again, not just selling products and services, holistic content that really amps up the value of their life. And consider other channels. It's not just a matter of, are you making the phone call? Can you send the email? Can you connect with them on LinkedIn or social media? Can you get them, can you join a group that they're in? So we want to see how we can really develop a rapport, multiple tacks.
I love that idea about thinking about the other channels too. Maybe you usually follow up with a phone call, but an email or LinkedIn is a great example there.
Especially how busy the holidays are.
Yes. So what's the main action we need to focus on here for tip 6?
Well, measure, figure out where your hot leads are coming from. Who are people that are really engaged with your brand? Follow up with them. Can you give them something so that they want to do more business with you or refer more business to you? I once left a review for a sushi restaurant in Quincy, Massachusetts, and the owner was so smart, they sent me a message on Yelp and said, "Thank you so much for your review. What's your address? We'd like to send you gift certificates to our other restaurants so you can try those out as well." I got 5 $20 gift certificates. Now, they weren't paying me. They were just saying, go try. And if you go to sushi, it's not just 20 bucks, you're going to spend more. So he already made money because I got sake and all that other stuff. Plus, some of the restaurants that I really felt compelled to leave a review, I did. I'm not saying to do that, but maybe there's a way that you can give a little extra value or perceived value for those people that are hot and really want to be buying your products or services or donating.
That's a great example for how the small business followed up with you on Yelp. Really smart. All right, so I want to have some time for a few questions here. I know we're running out of time, but do you want to just recap us with all of these really great tips we talked about today?
Know the dates. If you have to write it down, print out a calendar. If you're already using Constant Contact's content planner, use that so that you're actually marking down the dates. They should already be on the calendar, and then you can start planning out your content. SMART goals, like we said, set 2 or 3 SMART goals that are going to help you really win the holidays. Defining your audience, knowing your buyer persona, think about your dream customer, the person that would call, click, or walk in and buy right away with no objections. Tell your story, sit down and think about different stories that you've had depending on your business. What can you share? And then also share those stories. Put them in all different websites, email, all that stuff. And then measure your success. Measure your success. So we want to make sure that you're measuring metrics. You're making sure that you're looking at your website visitors, your email signups, all that stuff, so that you can make sure that you're actually achieving those goals.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that. So just want to let you know, if you don't already have an account with Constant Contact, we've got tons of tools to help you in your holiday marketing and throughout the year. Jake's helping out behind the scenes, so we'll have him share a link to start a trial in the chat window if you'd like to do that. And Bryan, I know you've talked about your little guide or handout. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that and how people get that?
Sure thing. Everything that we've covered today, we put into a guide that's helpful for you. You can download it, you can print it out. You can find it at bryancaplan.com/holidays. We go over the important dates, setting goals, defining your buyers, selling with stories. I give you prompts, examples, and ways to share those stories, and also different ways that you can track your success.
Awesome. So let's get to all these great questions. There are a ton, Bryan, so we're going to get through as many as we can here in
Of
the next
course.
couple of minutes. So
Sure.
Zelina says, my goal this year is having less of my emails sent to junk or spam. Suggestions?
So, of course, follow email marketing best practices, right? We don't want to be using all caps, try to avoid certain spam words. Also, make sure you have a good ratio of content, so written word to images. That's a big one. Make sure that you're not adding in a bunch of links. It's really kind of, a lot of us feel compelled that we have to add in a whole bunch of links when we're sending out an email. You don't. Try to think about, again, your holiday promotion and what you're trying to accomplish. Hey, if you just have one or two links in that email, that's all you need. The more links you add, the more kind of analysis paralysis you create, the more confusion, and people won't take action. So just again, think about your buyer persona, the person receiving the email, and try to have, like, for every image you use, try to have about a paragraph, 2 to 3 to 4 sentences of text to really even it out.
And a common issue I see there is sometimes people will go in and create a single image email with a PDF or something like that. And that can also cause some spam issues. So you want to make sure you're actually like typing something into your email and using those images separately. So don't create a single image only email.
Never ever. That goes right to spam.
Yes. So Elizabeth asks, I love the idea of setting goals, but when it comes to nonprofit holiday direct mail campaigns or any marketing campaign, there are no guarantees of an ROI. The results don't start coming in until January. Thoughts on that?
Well, then, Matt, let's set another SMART goal. So it might be that your SMART goal is the date is in January. So let's start building that campaign now and thinking about, okay, what do we want to hit? What levels do we want to hit in January? And maybe we're going to segment our list and we're going to send out some campaigns to one part of the list, so split it in half. Maybe some sort of content or stories are going to work for that segment, and then you can test it against the other segment. So it's called split testing. That way, once January comes, you can see, hey, did track A work or did track B work? And then for next year, you're better equipped to work on which one worked and kind of build off of that.
Awesome. And you mentioned segmentation, which is so important. If you can do it now or even as you're getting into the holidays, use the data in your account, your email marketing, and see what people are clicking on is one of the most simple things that you can do.
Yep.
So Mike is joining actually from our Facebook Live, which is exciting. He says, we sell jewelry both in the USA and worldwide. Do I need to specifically address each country or language? This would be impossible to accomplish. Maybe include a way to automatically translate. Do you know anything about that?
There's a bunch of different, you can actually install Google Translate on your website, and that's one way that you can do it. There's also a tool that we've used. We work with a bunch of companies that have Portuguese or Spanish speaking consumers. It's called Weglot, Weglot, and it's a plugin you can install on your site. It's a piece of code that will automatically translate for those different countries. Very important where e-commerce really is pervasive, can hit anywhere in the world. If you're shipping to that country, you want to make sure you have language support for that country. I definitely suggest it. But easiest way, check out Google Translate and how you can add that to your site.
Awesome. So I know we're a little bit over, but I want to try to address two more questions and then we'll work after the fact to get those questions answered for all of you. So David has a question for you. Actually, let's skip that one and I'll have you address later.
Sure.
Rosella asks, speaking of songs, we would love to use music songs that catches our audience, but most of them have copyright restrictions. What suggestions do you have?
If you're adding your videos up to YouTube, you can actually, YouTube does have an audio library that you can use where they're all free to use. They're royalty free. There are several sites that offer royalty free audio as well. A lot of them are paid. They might have trials. You really want to be careful because I know that sometimes when you go on YouTube, you can find videos that say, hey, you can use a song, but you have to attribute to that actual composer. And if you don't, you kind of open yourself up for a lawsuit. So my suggestion would be either upload the video into YouTube and use YouTube's audio library, or if you have like iMovie, they have a bunch of songs that you can use. You'll hear, once you play the song, you'll know you've heard it 100 times in other people's videos, but make sure it's royalty free and that you do not have to attribute to that artist or composer. Otherwise, you don't want to have legal implications.
Awesome. Great point. And lots of questions we get about that all the time. So I'm glad we were able to address it. So Shelly, and a lot of people are actually asking about Google My Business. I know you have some really great videos and information in the guide you created,
Yeah.
but to wrap up the session today, how can they get started with a Google My Business profile?
Sure. So to get started with a business profile on Google, you go to google.com/business. I'm also in the holiday guide, we have links, but on my YouTube channel, I show you how to create the profile. And it's not just creating, it's also optimizing the profile. So I show you how to actually optimize the profile, make sure there's all the information you need so that you are getting your best digital foot forward. But just to get started, google.com/business.
Awesome. So Shelly, along with that, let's address this. She wants to know if you can get a Google My Business profile if you are only an online store.
If you're only online, it's not going to make sense for you. So that's more so where you would use something called Google Merchant Center, which we didn't talk about today. But Shelly, if you want to write down Google Merchant Center, and actually if you go to my website, you'll be able to sign up. We have classes where we teach about that. Google My Business is really for a local business that has a local presence, either a physical store or a service-based business like an HVAC or the actual septic guy that's at my window right now staring at me because they're replacing my septic tank and he didn't get the message when I waved him away. That would be perfect for a Google My Business profile. But if you're fully online e-commerce, it wouldn't make sense.
Awesome. And Bryan is a Constant Contact partner as well as a Google expert. So he's got tons of really great information on his website. So I do see we're a little bit over time, and I do want to apologize for that. I wanted to make sure we got through some of the questions. I'm going to be working with Bryan over the next couple of days to make sure we get as many of these questions answered as possible. I believe Bryan is going to be doing a video and sharing it with us so that we can share it with all of you. So Bryan, I want to thank you so much for joining us. So many great tips and suggestions for our audience today, and all of you in the audience, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you have a really successful holiday season. Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Happy holidays.
Bye.